Countries ending with y versus ia. What is the pattern? I wonder why some country names in English are suffixed with y, Lombardy, Italy, Hungary, Saxony, Sicily, and some with ia, Bulgaria, Austria, Bavaria, Sardinia. I understand the etymology. Y, Middle En. Y, I, Anglo-Norman and Middle French, i.e. Latin, ia. Ia is taken directly from Latin. Since y is derived from Middle French, please, let's only discuss medieval countries which existed in Anglo-Norman and Middle French times. We know that all modern country region names end with ia, e.g. Slovakia, Yugoslavia, Colombia, California. We can see that both suffixes are derived ultimately from Latin, ia, however I do not understand why some country region names contain the original Latin suffix, while some contain the modified one. I do not see any clear pattern as the suffixes are mixed up even within the same region, e.g. Lombardy, Tuscany, Sicily versus Liguria, Sardinia, Calabria. Saxony versus Bavaria. Hungary versus Austria. The only exception being France and Spain where suffixing is consistent, Brittany, Normandy, Bacari, Burgundy and Galicia, Andalusia. I am not sure whether any of those IA countries and regions I mentioned were bearing the same similar name even in Middle Ages, or maybe they were reanalyzed and translated to Latin over time. I could not find any information on this. Thank you for answering and clarifying this issue.
There is no pattern. OED. IA suffix a termination of Latin and Greek nouns, o equals I, iota dash, stem or connecting vowel plus, a suffix 1 in Greek especially frequent as the ending of abstract nouns from adjectives in, etc. Many words so formed are in English use, as hydrophobia, mania, militia, hence frequent in modern Latin terms of pathology, cephalalgia, hematuria, hyperalgia, hysteria, a of botany, in names of classes, orders, or other divisions, as menandria, digynia, cryptogamia, and in generic names of plants, formed on personal names, or otherwise derived, as dahlia, fuchsia, lobelia, wisteria, woodsia, calceolaria, mantisia, etc., in names of countries, as Australia, Tasmania, Rhodesia, and in names of alkaloids, after ammonia, as aconitia, atropia, conia, morphia, strychnia, in which more recent nomenclature prefers the ending ine.in. French ia became ie, whence Middle English ie, English, y, in nouns in and see, ography, allergy, etc.
It's accident, specific to each individual use of the country name in English. Let's take Austria and Hungary as an example. You might want there to be a deep phonological or etymological reason that the two have different endings. No. It appears to be accident. Austria. In German, it's Österreich, and other Germanic languages use names ending in Reich. English instead borrowed from a Latinization of Österreich, Austria. There is an accidental shift in this Latinization, as Ost means east in German but Oster means south in Latin. The Latin usage is first recorded in 1147. Wikipedia. The word enters English by the 16th century, apparently with minimal interference from an intermediary language like French. William Caxton, in his French to English dictionary of 1480, notes the older Germanic use alongside a francophone version ending in the Duc d'Ostris / of the Duke of Ostrich. However, the French usage never comes over to English. Instead, by 1537, in the sexlinguarm of Latin, French, Spanish, Italian, English, and German, and 1538, in Sir Thomas Eliot's dictionary, the English usage is Austria. Austria, Ostenrich, Ostrich, Austria, Austria, Easterich. Vienna, a site in Austria, and other in Dauphiny. Hungary. Hungaria is one medieval Latinization, and others include Ungary, Ungari, Avari, and so on. Wikipedia. Hungary is already in use in the late Middle English period, as demonstrated in the 15th century chronicle of John Harding. Coengi Edward sente then into Hungary for his cousin, the son of Emond Ironside. Similarly, Thomas Eliot 1538 calls the country Hungary, Pannonia the Royama of Hungary. Since the administrative language in the late Middle English period was still largely French, that suggests a possible French influence for the country name. Note, however, that Hungaria is also a form that exists in Middle and Early Modern English. Here's Ranulf Hidgen in the 14th century. Out of Emor Pannonia honey went in Huntinch, and passed long by Marys and waters, and fulved e trace of Hertz, ut dicit Herodotus. And so at e last di found e lasse Pannonia, and torned home ain, and fedi to hem Greta Strenge and com eft in to e lasse Pannonia, and put out e men at were Erin, and cleaped e London Hungaria. And here's Thomas Eliot, now in 1542, using both Hungaria and Hungary. Pannonia, the country now called Hungaria, wish toke that name of another Hungaria now named Iulara, a country in the northern part of the world not far from the River called Tanais, and is tributary to the Muscovites. The bounds of Hungary is now much larger than it was of old time. The usage of Hungary didn't fully standardize until the 18th century. Samuel Johnson refers exclusively to Hungary in his dictionary of 1,755 lexicons of early modern English search. It's unclear why Hungary won out over Hungaria, when authors once used both regularly, so it's messy. Even from those two countries' narratives, it's hard to know why Hungary took prominence, despite the presence of Hungaria as a form, or why Austria took hold instead of something like Ostrich. I can trace through the decades which names are used, and make some guesses for these specific words, but they defy generalization to other country names. For instance, I can say that Saxony and Saxonia both appear in Middle English, but Bavaria was Bauer or Bowers in Middle English before. Somehow, the Latin spelling Bavaria took hold, Middle English corpus. I can't say why Saxony took precedence, let alone whether Hungary and Saxony could be grouped together as following one deterministic rule while Bavaria and Austria together follow another deterministic rule. It feels more arbitrary than that.
If you want to support the channel, please consider